What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of the Lifebringer Saga, and in this video we're going to be looking at Zulu Flight and Brotherhood War Aftermath. So let's go ahead and get into this. Zulu Flight is a spin-off story of the Spartan legacy that takes place 7 days after the Brotherhood War. UNSC pilot Zulu 49er is trying to hide from the Lifebringer's controlled Spartans, and he ends up fighting a group of civilians. Zulu gets into an argument about the events of the war with their leader. The leader wants to kill him, but he's saved by a reformist soldier, Albrecht Streitner. I apologize if I said that wrong. I just call him Al from now on. Zulu asks Al why he saved him, and he says because they're on the same side now and that they have no time to be fighting each other. He's not too pleased that Nyla and Marcus made a deal with the Lifebringer, and he has no plans of going back to the Reformation either. Can't say I blame him. He asks where Zulu is off to, and Zulu says that he's going to Olympia Airport so that he can find transport. Zulu decides to let Al come along, and on the way there, they share how they ended up in the forest in the first place. They reach the airport, but there's a whole Spartan fire team here, so they must move carefully, but they run into a problem. There are motion sensors on the airfield, and there's no way they can get through the Spartans on their own, and they will find them soon. However, Al has a plan. He's going to try and blow up the fuel container and create an opening for Zulu to escape. It works until Zulu gets spotted, but Cecil, his AI, has a plan. He's going to take control of a fighter and create a distraction for Zulu and Al to escape. Cecil is destroyed, but the two manage to escape in a Pelican. They land in a field somewhere, but they gotta keep moving to avoid being captured. It's not the right time to start fighting back, but their opportunity will come. I like this little side story. It shows how each side is handling the takeover, and not well is the best way to put it. But now let's get back to how the main group is handling it. It's the winter of 2190, so about 3 months after the Brotherhood War, and the soldiers, reformists, and civilians are dealing with the fallout of it. Zach's group is hiding out in the mountains in the Pacific Northwest, and they're doing their best to hang in there, but man, Logan is going through it. The man is so defeated that he's completely given up. It's sad to watch. They're trying to see if anyone is active on remote channels, but no luck so far. Meanwhile in Seattle, we get to see how the civilians are doing, and it's not too much better for them. Their lives are heavily monitored by the Lifebringer's forces, all the way down to their food supply. I love the relationship between Anthony and Carla. Carla is frustrated at this situation, but Anthony calms her down. He's still got faith that someone will save them. He tries to give some of that faith to Carla. In situations like this, you've got to have faith, otherwise you've completely lost. Next, we get a scene with Silva, who's trapped within her own mind. She is fighting the best she can, but Lifebringer has got her by the neck. Her body is no longer hers as long as that signal is active. This is the case with all Spartans right now, and it's going to take a lot to free them. Speaking of Lifebringer, back at Spartan Command, she decides to have a talk with Nyla. Lifebringer admits that her ultimate goal is beyond just vengeance. She needs Earth's resources to bring her army back to full strength, and she needs Nyla and the civilians alive to keep the reformists in the UNSC from attacking her. The success of her plan relies on this loose bluff, and she feels comfortable telling Nyla all this because she is keeping Nyla as a prisoner personally. She does bring up that what she's doing is for the good of the galaxy, but for her to do all of this, there's something out there that has her spooked, but what could that be? Meanwhile, back in the mountains, Guardian has returned with some bad news. Olympia has been burned down, probably because someone decided to fight back, but the Spartans and Centurions were locating people out of the city, so it's not a total loss. But it does show that the Lifebringer isn't afraid to show some force to keep people in line. Meanwhile, Teresa finally picks up somebody on the civilian channels, and it's Marcus. He's trying to rally some reformist troops to rescue Nyla. This leads to a flashback of Zach and Marcus fighting on Reach. This is the mission where Marcus was left behind. Zach was told Marcus had died, but that was far from the truth. Meanwhile, back in Seattle, the civilians are being swept for Spartan conscription, and the Spartans get to our couple from earlier. Carla was scanned for compatibility and comes back negative, but unfortunately, Anthony's scan came back positive, so he has to go with the Spartans. As he's being carried away, his last words to Carla was to not give up. Back in the mountains, the group are arguing over what they should do about the reformists, and Logan and Teresa get into it. Teresa's just telling them to pull back because of the Lifebringer's threat to kill the civilians if there's any military pushback, but Logan says that the Lifebringer wouldn't risk her advantage by doing that. And he could care less about the reformists, but he is right about one thing. It would be stupid of her to do that considering she's trying to conscript civilians into the Spartan program. Zach chimes in and he agrees with Teresa that the Lifebringer's word can't be trusted, and that's true too. Look at where they're at because the reformists trusted her. Zach wants to go to their meeting spot, Winthrop, to convince them to stand down, but Logan isn't trying to hear it from Zach right now. His trust in Zach isn't what it used to be because of his relationship to Gary. He knows why Zach wants to go to see Marcus, but as far as he's concerned, the reformists are still enemies. As he puts it,
I know why you want to do this. But they started down this path when they decided they were better off trusting the enemy instead of their own people. You gonna make the same choice?
Zach meets up with Guardian outside the cave. He heard the whole conversation and they talk about the matter. Zach is torn. He knows he's emotionally compromised, but he needs to go see Marcus. He needs to put things to rest, but he's worried about what Logan and Teresa will think. But in the end, he decides to go anyway, and Guardian supports him. He'll keep Logan off his case in the meantime. Back in Seattle, the Lifebringer's forces are parading through the city. They're looking for somebody, and the civilians are trying to stay out of sight. However, the person they're looking for is hiding right around the corner. This is Corporal Adrian Knight. He is gathering up some people who want to leave the city later tonight, but Carl wants nothing to do with it because if they get caught, every one of them is as good as dead. The guy she's hiding out with thinks they should go for it, as it's better than waiting for whatever the Lifebringer has in store for them. He decides to go with Knight. Carla still has reservations, but Knight gave her the rally point in case she changes her mind. Back at Lifebringer HQ, Galloway is updating Lifebringer on her hunt for Knight, and if Knight is planning on carrying out this escape mission, it's gonna have to be perfect, because they're definitely searching the city for him. Lifebringer starts to get lost to her thoughts for a bit, as we see her before the other Forerunners, and she is getting chewed out by the Forerunner Council for her Hyborian stunt. You know, turning the Forerunners into Hyborians? This is what led her to be imprisoned on Cradle after all. She was right about the fact that the Flood would overrun the Forerunners, and she's saying that she won't fail the galaxy again, which adds to the intrigue. What is she trying to protect the galaxy from? We check in with Carla again, and she's made up her mind to meet up with Knight, so she's sneaking her way there, and back in the mountains, Zach is preparing to head off to see Marcus, but Teresa stops him. She's worried about the UNSC branding him a traitor, or Marcus just killing him when he gets there. However, Zach points out that the UNSC is no more. The lines in the sand between the UNSC and the reformers have been destroyed by the Lifebringer. And if he doesn't at least try to help Marcus before he gets himself killed, he wouldn't be able to forgive himself. Teresa does ask about the relationship, and Zach admits that while he does care for her, he still has to go, and she knows that, so she solemnly tells him to go. He takes off and Logan wants to go after him, but Guardian sabotaged the Warthog. Logan is pissed that Zach is disobeying a direct order, but Guardian lays into Logan about how much Zach needed him, and he let him down.
Letting him down, Logan. You're his hero and you let him down so hard. You're so stuck in your own ditch that you can't see how badly he needs you right now. Snap out of it. I'm sick of your shit. You're so much better than this. And don't you bring up age again, because I got 100,000 years on you. You had your chance to be there for him. You blew it. Now he's got to avoid making your mistakes.
Back in Seattle, Carla gets spotted by the Centurions, but she's saved by Knight's group. But by killing that Centurion, it alerted the Lifebringer's forces, so they gotta be prepared for anything. Teresa tells Guardian to fix the Warthog so they can go after Zach. She's tired of losing people, and she doesn't want to lose him too. She tries to snap some sense into Logan that Zach wouldn't betray them, and that he would only do this for the right reason. Zach needs you now or never, Logan. What are you gonna do? We're back at Lifebringer HQ, and shit, she done found out what Knight was up to. And worse, she's sending Corsair after him and the civilians. She gave them the order to kill them. Silva tries desperately to reach the other Spartans and pleads with the Lifebringer to let them go, but it's no use. I feel bad for her especially because it seems like she's the only one who still has some control of her mind, but she isn't in control enough to go against the Lifebringer's commands. It's like your body is on autopilot and all you can do is watch it go. In this case, watch it go commit murder. The civilians are preparing to make their move, and Zach makes it to the reformers' meeting place, and inside, Marcus is talking to the other reformists, and these guys share the same sentiment as our buddy Al from Zulu Flight. They're justifiably pissed at Marcus and Al for making a deal with the devil, and that's when Zach comes in. This is when Marcus's connection to Zach is revealed to the reformists. And of course, they're not happy that he's a Spartan, but he makes it clear what his motivations are and have always been. We get to see how the UNSC left him to die at the hands of the Covenant, and to be honest, if anyone deserves to have an axe to grind with the UNSC, it would be Marcus. Marcus then states how the UNSC's actions affected innocent people, but Zach points out that the reformists aren't any better. Recall, they did attack the Homeward Bound, and they did start the War of Seattle, and they did unleash the Lifebringer on everyone, but Zack isn't here to cast blame. He's here trying to fix things. He doesn't want Marcus to throw his wife away, but Marcus is still going through with it. He demands that Zack leave, and that's when Teresa and the gang show up, and this leads to a standoff. The civilians are making their way out of town, but Corsair was waiting for them. The civilians are ready for a fight though, but their opponents aren't just some foot soldiers, they got a boss battle. Back at Reformist HQ, since the gang showed up to support Zack, he tries talking to everyone again, and he gives an epic speech. But while his speech is going on, the fight between the civilians and Corsair is going on, and it's going like you think it would. They're getting slaughtered, and Karwa is the last one remaining, but she gets killed by Silva. Okay, that what got to me, because I was hoping that she would make it. Andrew was already taken away from her. She deserved her freedom at least, right? And Silva crying over her body, man. She's mortified by what she's done. Zack's speech does make everyone stand down. It's time to stop fighting each other and fight the true enemy. Marcus and Logan agree to a truce. I thought I would never see the day. Teresa joins Zack and Guardian outside, but Guardian leaves to give these two some time to talk. This is where Zack and Teresa make their relationship official. It was nice seeing their relationship develop slowly as the story went on. Marcus and Logan come out and they've agreed to end the war between the two sides. But Marcus still has a mission to complete, which is rescuing Niwa. He's going to need our help to lead the reformation now that the truth is out about him being a Spartan and all, but first they need to organize themselves and find some help. To help with that, Zack says that Phoenix Team needs to be reformed. This will act as a beacon of hope of sorts, which means that Logan is coming out of retirement, y'all.
From here on out, we are allied once more. Brothers are brothers again. And like everything that came before her, the Lifebringer will find that humanity is the wrong race to fight with. There's no going back. We stand and fight to our last breath. Together.
Guys, things are going to get good. Aftermath achieves what a series like it is supposed to. Show us the effects of what went down, and it did that and more. The UNSC, the Reformation, they're both a shell of what they once were, and the civilians under the oppressive boot of the Lifebringer. I knew those civilians stood no chance, but seeing Karwa get killed hit different. Chronicler has shown he's not afraid to kill people off if it makes sense to the story. There are no ass pulls here, but more importantly, we get to see the UNSC and the Reformation team up, and this is where the counterattack begins. That ends part 2, guys. In the finale, we'll be covering Hyborian. Yeah, that one gets a video all to itself because it's a long one. Thank you for watching, guys. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
DJ Sonic 3.